So I think we can start, right? Hello, everybody, and welcome to the Hyper Games Conference panel discussion, and thank you all of you for participating. Well, I'm happy to introduce our colleagues today on the panel discussion Women in Games. So today we have Vanessa Ferraz, co-founder at 67 Bits. Also, we have Maunula, lead producer at DoDreams, and Maryna Bondarenko, business developer at Miniclip. So I'm proud to speak to you today. And please, ladies, introduce yourself shortly. What does you do and what's unique about your company? Maryna, can you please start?
Yeah, definitely. Thank you so much for having us here. So really nice to see you all as usual. Love the conference, love the show, and talking about female empowerment makes me feel really proud. That means we do something for the community, so which is really great. So yeah, I've been working with Miniclip for more than a year, doing business development, everything that comes to the commercial, kind of deals like publishing, M&A, some kind of investments, what we do, discussing burn rates and all that stuff. It comes to me. So all of the days spent in playing the games, looking for new opportunities and unique when we're talking about some kind of a unique features of the company. So I think an interesting point about us, we would like to unleash the gamer in everyone. So, we do games for people to play, for people to love them, to have some kind of a feelings, to have something about it, not only just play for playing, just play for fun, play for unleashing basically this kind of experience in everyone, in everything. So I think it's the main message of us.
I love how it sounds. Thank you a lot. Maria, can you please tell us a few words about yourself and about your company?
Yeah, happy to be here. So I'm from DoDreams, and well, we do actually more than games. We do dreams, as we love to say, as we cater the needs of the developers here from many different perspectives and from diverse backgrounds. And on the game side, we are probably most known of the physics-based battle Drive Ahead. And every time I tell this to people, they shock and they drop from the bench. We are the free-to-play mobile market, and all of our hundreds of millions of users are organic. And this is weird during these times. Yes, we are stepping into UA very soon.
That's
as
impressive.
well. Yeah, so far we did something right on that game. And I've been in the industry for 5 years.
I think you definitely have to share with us, right?
For sure.
Okay, thank you a lot, Maria. And Vanessa, can you please tell about your company?
Well, great. Hi, everyone. Thanks for the invitation. I'm very glad to be participating in this panel discussion. I think it's a very important team. I'm Vanessa. I'm from Brazil, living in Rio de Janeiro. Co-founder and game producer 67-Bit, game studio focus on casual and hyper-casual games. And I think the unique about our work is the visual of our games. We really focus on that and focus also on the player to have a good experience. And I think it's all that matters. No.
Okay, thank you a lot. So it seems like we have a very interesting company today, right? And please let me introduce myself. I'm Anna Petukhova, business development manager at OpenMediation, which is open source code OpenMediation SDK. And mostly I'm involved in the expanding accelerator program. We help mobile game developers in their publishing journey. And also, since last year, I'm proud to be an ambassador of Women in Games organization. So that's why I think this topic is very important for me today. So let's start with the questions. Let's kick things off with a brief career history. Did you always know that you will work in the gaming industry? How did you come here? So can you please tell us about this, Vanessa?
Sure. Actually, I never thought I would work in the gaming industry. To be honest, my last console game played were Super Mario 3. So I like to see my husband playing, but I play very badly. I'm an architect, but in 2019, I lived in Mexico and got the chance to work in a digital marketing agency as account director, where I led a team of 15 people and reorganized all the process of the creative content generation. That was a really mess. And I always love it to plan and organize. Whenever I have a chance, I create an Excel spreadsheet to solve something. So after that opportunity and a lot of self-searching, I realized that my purpose is to organize teamwork and workflow. Meanwhile, my husband and now my partner was chasing his dream to work with video games. And when he got the first publisher contract in 2020, I started to help him to organize the work, bureaucracy, finances. So here I am now.
Yes, it's perfect history and shows a lot that even if you didn't have the technical background or even wasn't a big fan of games, there's still always an opportunity for you to change the field and get success in it. So, Maria, can you please tell us about your past and how did you come to the game industry?
Sorry, was that Maria or Maryna?
Oh, sorry, Maria?
Yeah, I'm on the same track with Vanessa. Like, I had zero idea about games industry before. I used to work for years and years in sales. It was IT, like male-dominated industry, but it was selling things. And honestly, it kind of ate my soul and my trust and faith in humanity. So I was definitely looking for something new after those years. And there was someone who knew me and could already foresee that I could grow in this industry and wanted to cater that need. And beyond the sales, I used to have this creative side. I'm also a photographer. I did some cosplay stuff, and I was always organizing things. I could never imagine someone would pay me for doing it. I was always the one who makes you like color-coded packing list for trips and organizes meetings and whatnot. So this was definitely spot on fit for me, but I wasn't always also a producer. I started as a community manager. I did some office management, social media coordination. And I think it's a blessing and a curse that I always saw something that I want to fix. So I did come with the solutions, and well, here it is now. I'm the lead producer because that skill kind of was built in me, and I would never ever change away from this one.
Yeah. So do you feel like right now in the game industry, do you still feel the same and as in your previous field, like about male-dominated things?
Oh, unfortunately, yes. There's a lot of things that I need to like justificate or explain or like really push through before I'm heard sometimes. But within the past, I would say 5 years, there has been a massive change. I think a lot of the reasons are because of the women in games organizations and associations who has been promoting that, hey, by the way, there's no stigma that you need to be a programmer or artist. You can actually be HR, talent, sales. There's so many more jobs, and we need the diversity, and we have been able to show the good results, what happens when you're not just three great buddies making a game, but you actually have different backgrounds, different cultures, different sexes and all this. And I really want to see where this goes within the next 5 years.
That's true. I hope like big changes waiting for us right now. And Maryna, could you please tell us how did you come to be doing what you do now? And did you always know you would work in the game industry or maybe IT industry?
No, never was thinking about that, just like I started my career basically as a teacher of English and German. So I was a translator, just like doing nothing special, like working with dogs, with people, translating, going to the kind of meetings. But I always knew that I would like to work with people, that was something that I actually wanted to do. And one day my boyfriend told me, like, why you don't want to try to go to IT, just like give it a try. And I'm like, okay, maybe, yeah, why not? It was back in 2017, and I applied for one company, and it was digital marketing for sure, as like a lot of people started, right? So like I started with this affiliation, traffic side of things, but on the other side, just like seeing how the people sell, buy, DSP and all of that stuff. But then back in 2019, one Chinese publisher reached to me and said, like, look, we are going to a business trip and we need someone who is going to help us translating. Like, it's game in space. Maybe you would like to give it a try. And I was like, okay, let's do it. Let's fly over. Okay, in a week. Okay, sounds good. Yeah, and I started back in 2019 with my career in games. So that was my huge first conference I attended after being a week in the industry. You know, I was trying to understand what are the games about. I cannot say I'm a gamer myself, but I play games. I'm a huge fan of Harry Potter, Sims, you know, like Tomb Raider, all of that stuff, you know, like ladies.
Yeah.
Yeah, NFC for sure. Just that it was like a long time ago. Right now, I don't have the time for that, unfortunately. But, you know, I was a nurse, like playing the games all of the time, but I never considered myself coming into gaming space. And now I don't want to leave it. You know, that's the thing. You come and you're like, okay, I'm sticking, you know, sticking for some time. I like it. If somebody's going to say just like what you would like to do, digital marketing or some kind of a gaming, like gaming, 100%, no digital marketing, no, don't want to. It's not that fun, you know, gaming is much more fun, you know, it's interesting one.
So it's, why do you want to leave the industry? Is because fun? Like, what's the biggest difference?
Just basically, because
the
biggest difference is like people, you know, the attitude,
that's
what
true.
we do, and fun, you know, just when you work with traffic, it's more about numbers, accounting. Games are also about numbers, right? We make the KPIs, we see how it works, and that's the curves and everything. But you have a great opportunity to play the games, everything, new releases, everything, basically, right? So you have this kind of a thing that's very unique. If you say people that you earn money because you're playing games, nobody's going to believe you. All of my friends, all the time, they're asking like, but you play games, what else do you do? I was like, it's hard to explain, you know, just like it's different stuff. Playing games, it's kind of routine activity for me. It's not that fun anymore. It's more about, you know, like progression, about like finding something right, something new, something that's going to grow and scale. And it's hard to explain to an ordinary user that like what they do for fun, you do for living, you know, so like a huge difference. So, and when it comes to traffic, what's fun about traffic? Just, it's not that fun. Okay, it's not that fun.
Definitely someone found it fun. I think someone people
after
also
some
different.
time being in there, I'm pretty sure that gaming is much more, and shows that we have. I think our shows, like if it comes to Pocket Gamer or like Gamescom or, you know, any other big show that we have within the industry, just look at the venues, like look at the people, the costume, the cosplay, and everything that they do. You know, just like you will be amazed.
Like you said, the people, it's funny that you mentioned the, like you had to go in the conference after first week, because I feel that's something that like combines all of us. We never talk about it, but we are pushed to the deep end right away. But even though the industry does that, there is the safety net that takes us when we fall there and we feel scared as hell, but it just works out. And there's no like slashback or punishment if you don't get it right on the first time. And that's super nice. It's welcoming to the industry.
It's true. That's true.
Yeah, actually, I'm also come to the industry after attending one conference. I also was involved in localization before that, in translation and localization. And when I come and see people here, and I just feel, wow, that's my vibe. Like people here really have passion about what they're doing. They're not just coming to work in the morning and leave it in the evening and like, okay, my job is done. That's it. No, people really have passion about what they're doing, and it's give you some energy. So the work is not just work right now. Yeah. So thank you. And the next question that I wanted to ask is about the culture. What fact do you think the culture within which you grew up has had an influence in your career path? What do you think? Who wants to dive into this first?
Well, I can go because I bet it's quite different in different parts of the world. And I come from Finland. We are quite small. We are quite tight network, and the industry is very small here. And it grew suddenly so fast. So it really had that strong stigma that, okay, it's only for guys, it's only for business, it's only about just making games. You need to know how to program the games. And there was no chance for females to actually consider this role as a work. And even on just basic IT tech, even me selling just normal IT things was quite hard for females to be in. There was a lot of sexism and misogyny and like down talking and this kind of thing. And it actually kind of worked the other way for me, because every time someone said you cannot make it, I was like, well, let's see, look at me in 1 year and I'll be there. Someone even had the audacity to tell me like, huh, like women can't be good leaders. And I'm like, let me
Wow.
show you. And then now today I'm in the leading position because all those things just made it even like bigger thing for me, that not just for proving, but there's a need for us in this industry, and we can be and we should be here, and we need to teach these other peoples basically. And I'm a teacher at heart, so that comes quite naturally, and I have that petty side of me that I want to prove them to be wrong as well.
Yes, thank you. I love what you say, definitely. So, Vanessa, do you have some thoughts about this? What about culture in Brazil when you grew up? How did it affect on you? Did it have any influence on your career path?
Well, as an architecture, I worked more than 10 years with men constructors, where I thought that to be tough, I needed to be rude, you know. And when I started to work in the digital marketing agency, the team were mostly women, so very different kind of uh, people. So it was very challenging to change the way of speaking. You know. I believe this was the greatest learning I had in my career path. I'm a very different person, even with the constructors. You know, I learned that as a woman, I don't need to be rude to be listening. You know, the empathy and joy are our biggest weapon.
Yeah, that's true. Thank you a lot. So, Marina, do you have something to tell about your situation? And
Cannot say that it's going to differ, from everything that people say, but like, as I think people who work here just like for some time, I think we can understand the common stuff that we share, at some point. So yeah, I grew up in Ukraine, so I can't say anything special about like that. For example, in our society, I never had this kind of jobs, that were like dominated by one like male or that were dominated by females. It was like all the time kind of equity. But like when I was a lecturer at the university, there was like 40 people and all of them were female. For me, it was so hard to adjust because I didn't know how to work with them. At some point it was so complicated because, working with females only, sometimes it's also challenging, right? There must be a balance because the mood changes, swings, just like, and all of us are just like started basically to cry, and scream at each other. But then after 5 minutes, we are okay. We are done, just like emotions, the way that we work with emotions. But when you work with males, you always know that like it's a bit different, right? So you can't do that. So it's like, explaining all the time to your colleagues that I'm a female, just like I'm a girl, at some point I'm a girl, that I won't say anything, just like leave me alone, like for 5 minutes, give me the time, I need to live with that. I need to cry it out on my own, like it's a huge difference, explaining how it works. And I really like this point of Vanessa that like after some time you understand that like working with like males, yeah, you don't need to be that harsh, rough, ruthless at some point, you just need to have this joy, like kind of female thing that you need to learn. Today I read a post on Instagram with a friend of mine who was saying that the hardest job is to be female. It's better to work, just like do your job, daily activities, but to learn, how to be female, how to have all of this joy and this kind of silky kind of a thing, in your life to go through, just like with this kind of a pride. It's so complicated, and she's like, it's better to work, just like to go to job and work. It's much more easier, which is fun. And I can agree partly on this one, but like it brought me, like today in the morning, so seeing this post, so it was really funny, especially when now we're talking about that. So I think there is something in that, and Vanessa mentioned that. So yeah, I definitely think there is like some kind of a deep thought in here.
yeah, okay. Thank you for this. And yeah, another thing I wanted to ask about examples of women working in a gaming industry, or maybe, so when you were a child, did you see any examples of women working in the gaming industry, or maybe just gaming, let's say IT industry, through TV, magazines, or online? And what do you think? Do you believe it's crucial for young girls to see female representation in this field? I ask this question also because I feel like when I was a kid, I even had no idea that I had an opportunity. Like I have this way, I have an opportunity. It's not because I couldn't do this. I was, or because like girls are not interested about this, because I didn't know. This is an industry, like huge industry, like gaming industry, where I can start my career journey. So, what do you think? How it was for you? And also, do you really think that something changed right now in your place? So, Vanessa, can you start, please?
Sure. Yeah, I don't remember seeing examples of women in the gaming industry. And I believe that children become interested in something by the examples they have around that call their attention. When I was a child, I didn't had very much examples on careers that could show my potential. The internet and access to information was not like it is today. Before architecture, I made 2 years of engineer because I wanted to create robots. Like I really don't know what caught
Wow.
my attention about it, and but at least in Latin America, it's very rare to get the career choice right at the first time. I think it is part of the personal growth, but the more contact a child has with different types of careers, the better it is. So, if the potential of a young girl is in the gaming industry, I think it's crucial for her to see a female representation in this field. Just like Latin American children's feel represented in films like Rio or Coco and Encanto. So very huge films.
So yeah, and so maybe it's time right now to make some movie or cartoon about women working in games, right?
Yeah.
Or maybe make a game about it, right? So Maria, can you share your thoughts about this?
Absolutely zero representation in movies or TV or magazines or basically anywhere. The first time I had a touch on female people in this industry, not gaming, but tech industry, I had a rare chance because my mom is working on IT still, and I really look up to her for pulling that off during when the time she was young. But then when I actually saw someone else outside of my like a closest circle, my teacher in the university was female, and I was like, oh, it took me like this many years to actually see someone working on this industry. Holy hell! And of course, we had only a handful of female in the whole like industry of the school. And if I backtrack a little bit smaller, when I was like 15, 16 years old, we were able to choose IT in the middle school. Like, do you want to rather work on handcrafts or do you take the IT? There's no both, you choose one. And I took the IT. There was, I think, 2 girls, and all the guys were looking us at like, why are you here, kind of thing. But I took it as a challenge. It was really fun. I really didn't mind of those guys, but absolutely, yes. I think I would have been in this industry right away if I knew that there's a chance, there's potential, and it's actually welcoming, and there's so many roles. So what I try to do still today, because I got help getting into the industry, I try to spread the word. I'm very active on LinkedIn, and especially in Facebook, we have these female-only groups that has like hundreds of thousands of females. And I see almost weekly basis someone asking like, I'm fed up with my job, I do this and that, what could I do next? And I always come to the dark side. We have games industry, join me. And I try to post all the possible options for them. And every time my inbox goes crazy because people are like, I could work on games. Is that actually possible? I'm like, yes, it's 2023. It is possible that you can come here as well. So yes, we need a lot more of that in all of the media, especially like just normal casual TV and magazines would be amazing, because nerdy girls, we already know where to search this, but normal stay-home moms, I don't know, children care people, whoever who's maybe not so active in the IT field, like games in general, they could still come and work. They just don't know about this industry.
Yeah, definitely. So everyone who is listening us right now and just seeing you know someone who you want to push inside the gaming industry, please feel free to follow Maria on her LinkedIn and Facebook, and maybe you can find some information about it. Yeah, and I think it's really important right now to share this information. And Maryna, can you please tell us about like representation of women in IT or games when you were a kid, and how's the situation right now? What do you think? Is it changed or not?
When I was a kid, I simply didn't know that this kind of industry exists. Like I haven't seen any representation in books, media, films, nothing at all, because everything that I watched when I was a kid, it was just kind of this kind of a sitcoms, a lot of from Latin America, like Rebel Way, right? Like there was nothing special in that, like representing like females in this kind of a society. All of them were mostly models or actresses. The same comes to some American movies coming back, like Charmed, like they didn't represent this kind of a thing at all. But I think like back in 2017, it was like the time when I started to realize that there are a lot of women in tech. So when I started to dig into that, like company that I was working in were led by women at like some position, and I was like, okay, that's interesting. Some of the C-level are, women, just nice, there's must be something in that. And then when it comes to tech, like, this kind of a like society that we have, like gaming ambassadors and all of the things, just like always show up that there was a lot of women nowadays, in their countries, the continents, cultures, that represent women, and they are like great leaders. And just I'm based in London now, and there are like a lot of people and a lot of women having the clubs, having all of that stuff. Like, for example, in Ukraine, it was like a bit more complicated because I do not remember having something like that. But I'm pretty sure maybe there was, but I wasn't aware of that because I was working remotely, and it's a part of your life, and you're just like you're kind of working, but you're working remotely, right? So like you work at home, you do everything at home, so you basically do not care what's happening, outside of that kind of a box. So just like live and work at the same place, which is not that good sometimes. But yeah, when it comes to London, yeah, there is some kind of a female clubs, something that you can do, something that you can join. And I've talked during the PGC, I talked to like a lot of different people about that as well, about like women empowerment, and all of them were agreeing that yeah, definitely we need to have something like lunches, breakfast, let together girls, go somewhere to have some drinks or whatever is it going to be, to talk about industry life and in general. So I think now the situation is a bit better. It changed because you can see a lot of examples, and just like scroll through LinkedIn, you are going to see a lot of female startups. Even if you go into the Crunchbase, you're going to see like a number of startups in gaming, which is going to be like around 600 of them, which is a good number. It means a good sign. Means something is changing. So if I'm going to back it to 1998, when I was a kid, right? So I cannot imagine something like that's happening. So I think it's really, the situation has changed. The world is changing, life is changing. So yeah, we just like keep on track.
Yeah, and so can you maybe, do you remember maybe you had some specific challenges that you faced as a woman in the gaming industry during your career? Maryna, maybe you can continue?
Yeah, it's, it's a tough one because like all of the time I'm thinking of this question. I consider myself lucky enough working in quite a safe environment, very good environment with really great people. I never, like honestly, never had faced anything like crucial in my life or in my career that was like having this kind of a glass ceiling or something. I haven't. I do not know how is it going to be in recent years, right? How the situation is going to affect me or it's going to change. But like as a woman, like definitely, yeah, I've been like one of the like only women in like they're like within the team. Like there were like two more, they work remotely, and there's one more female. So it's like a bit complicated in terms of proportion, right? So most of the people are males, but I'm going to give the credit to my team, and the whole Miniclip team, which usually empower us. So that's why I'm basically here today, because they empower me to do that, to share this kind of experience and yeah, so on our side, there is nothing like that. And yeah, I consider myself to be lucky in terms of like a lot of things. And this one, like also really great thing for me.
So we should say thank you to Miniclip that they providing a good working atmosphere for you. And Maria, do you have some stories? Maybe did you met some challenges, like being a woman in the game industry?
I really have to think what I can say publicly here, but yes, there are some stories, and one of the things early in my career, I was in one company and I didn't know much about UA, but I used to sell like web pages and whatnot as well. So in a way, marketing was my interest point, and I started to challenge, but in a positive way. Like, how do we do this? Could we be better at doing user acquisition and maybe the marketing in general and the PR in general? And how do we do it now? And to my shock, I found out that we do not even advertise to women. And I was like, the what? The what? And I didn't have the words to explain like why that was so wrong in my mind. And the people at the time were like, but this is how it is. And that's kind of trigger thing for me. Like, this is how we used to do this always. Well, that's not how you improve. That's not how you can get better results. So I went full on my way to really find statistics and reasoning once again. It wasn't enough that I just told that we should be promoting females as well. I had to justify and come up with the numbers. This is why we need to do it. But once I was able to do that, and it had some impact, we were able to actually start to promote the females. And at the time, I think the number was like 51% of the mobile gamers were actually female. So when I was able to format into the shape of like, so you're willing to cut half of your potential audience away, that means half of the money that you could potentially make, then something clicked on the guys as well, like, yeah, there's actually more money in the industry, wait a minute. That kind of started building the trust in myself that I can do this, I just need to be tough, but with them, because of like, it's not being rude, but just more work that I can show that I'm right, that the thinking is right. But I hope that during those time I was able to build the understanding for the rest of the team members as well, that you don't always have to like say no, or but this is how we always did it. There's more room for the growth and understanding the audience as well. And that's quite different nowadays within the UA as well, because we cannot anymore just base the marketing on data. We actually have to understand the people and who would know female better than females. Same goes for the guys. I probably wouldn't know how to market to the guys and so on. So we need everyone from every culture, every background. But yeah, it's definitely been interesting times in the past.
Yeah, thank you a lot. So Vanessa, can you please share your thoughts about this? Maybe I'm not sure. You're working with, as I got right, you're working with your husband. So
yeah, we are.
yeah, maybe you feel
partners.
a little bit safer in your workplace right now. But what people say when they hear that you're co-founder on the game development company? Do they surprise or something like this?
Actually, no. I always worked as a self-employer or something, as an architect, and now in the games. I never actually. I didn't had any talent in the industry, in the game industry. Every colleagues and from other studios, partners and publishers, teams that I had contact were very nice and respectful. I think the hard thing is to find women in the industry to to contract. You know, all the mostly people we have in the study is men, so it's very difficult to find good women.
Yeah, lack of representation.
Yeah, it's difficult to hire.
Still,
I think that's
unfortunately,
yeah. Like the HR and talent acquisition could definitely use more female as well to find more females into the industry. And within the HR, actually, because sexism is a thing that happens in this industry still to some level, I think HR positions especially could be something that females could fill, because they can explain to other people why you can't touch other people in the workplace, and these kind of things that we already have experienced in our life in the past most often. And it's all new, unfortunately, to some guys that this happens. So when there's someone who has experienced it, it is way easier to explain it to the other people. So yeah, we definitely need female in every role as well, not just developers.
Yeah, thank you for sharing. And so let's dive into the games themselves. So in recent years, there's been an increase in the representation of women characters in video games. So for example, Dove and Epic Games, I don't know if you see this, had a great campaign. And what step do you think the game industry and companies can take to improve the realism of this representation, and how crucial it is to fostering inclusive communities for women in the gaming world? So Maria, you already started to talk about this topic briefly. Can you please, Maria, please continue and share some thoughts?
Yeah, I'm not sure if it needs to be exactly about realism, but more about the diversity and allowing players to have control. Like, I think it's definitely time to say goodbye for the old stereotypes of female players being a bikini and the guys being in the armor. And it's not just because we want that, but also the guys are tired of that. And actually, in the past, I had an interesting situation where the company was to me like, "Oh, we want to make amazing characters that makes the game viral." And I'm like, it's not kind of working like that, but let me figure out what the audience would actually want to see in the game. And I went to one of the really tough feminist Facebook groups, full filled with female and people who consider them to be a female. And I was terrified sending the message there like, hey, here's some concepts that we have. How do you like this? And well, what would you actually like to see in the games? And to my surprise, the people actually just wanted very normal things like hearing device to any of the characters. And I'm like, that's totally doable. Why we haven't never done this? And by the way, kudos to Sims. They just recently uploaded the hearing device to the game. So it's so normal things. And like skin color was something that came up. And it is, and it's so easy for us to do. And I've heard all the excuses why we couldn't do those. So it is us pushing for the change, and we need to do that. And it's not players asking for things that we couldn't do, basically. Whether it's about realism, that's amazing too, like having realistic, like maybe scars and stuff, but also just that they can choose. They don't have to play that one specific big tits lady in the game. Sorry for my language, but it's just had to be thrown out there.
So thank you, Vanessa. Do you have some thoughts about this realism and representation of women as a character in games? Maybe about hyper-casual games or also something?
No, I actually would like to see more female protagonists, in the games. With like Ellie from The Last of Us, Madeline from Celeste, Florence for Florence, and I would like to see more. I was thinking it's like only 6% of female protagonists in the industry of gaming. I would like to see more of this. Like having more deep personality, with great stories, not just a female itself. And
help me in the castle.
Yeah, not like that.
So,
Disney,
not only about graphic and not only about graphic and art style that we need. We also need more good stories, right? Good stories of the character, not just someone who you need to save or just a princess. Maybe it should be a girl that wants to save. I play a game, but unfortunately I forgot the name. It is like important, and especially for young generation of gamers, I think. Maryna, do you have something to add?
Yeah, basically, when you're going to look at female characters in game, like take Tomb Raider, there's like different sides of the coin. The one is going to be like very armed, strong female, like Clara right? Or there's going to be like a Disney princess on the other side, you know, just like it's really hard to find this kind of middle ground, you know, to find this kind of a character. Because I understand it from the perspective, like the public, you know, like people want to see some kind of action, right? Some kind of a trash, as it usually says, right? People want to see that because, like, as it was said in Rome, you know, just like you need to have it. It's a must, you know, the life is about that. But like on the other hand, everything is changing right now, and you know, just like people start to understand that normal things, they're normal, you know, something ordinary, it's normal, you know, there's nothing in that that's like really good to have it. So I can agree with both Maria and Vanessa on that one. So I'll definitely think it's going to change at some point, you know, there will be some games, some kind of a new games, and some people just need to start this kind of a trend and lead the direction, because it's risky, you know, just like, because games are, it's a business, right? It's the business that lives by money, by people, you know. So firstly, you need to make the A/B testing to understand what's really going to, you know, like work with your user, what's really is going to be like powerful message for them. But I think it's like diversity, inclusion is going to work, you know. You just need to find this like a proper balance. Like you cannot say everything is good or you cannot say everything is bad. You just need to find this like a proper balance between, you know, what is good, what is bad, like again, for your user, because that's why the games and everything, the public, basically everything is going to be so different. So it's like, you know, it still needs some work to explain to people, basically to send the message, normal is normal, it's ordinary, it's normal, it's okay, you know, just like be like a teacher, like Mary said that, you know, just like she liked that. So like to send the message, right, the right message to people, and at one point they will basically realize. So it takes a cycle for people to understand that is good. And as Maria said, like people are tired of something that they have already seen. So changes must be, and there will be changes. But like we cannot understand honestly right now what changes are going to be. Just like February 2023. So let's talk back in December 2023. So let's see the trend, how it's going to work. Because you know, every year it's so different, right? You can make the prediction, but at the end of the year, you can basically see the results, you can pull out some data and understand, okay, so we got this character, we got this, we got that, it changed, okay, so let's see what's next. So step by step you will reach that point. And I think it's definitely, it's important, you know, just to explain, it's not only like that, it can be like this, and it's okay, let's give it a try, you know, maybe it's going to be okay.
I have a perfect example on this. So you all know the app icons that we see on the screen, and for a long time it was a absolute must-have trend that every mobile game had the app was basically guy's head, mouth a little bit open, and a spit coming out from, and there was even memes about it because every single game was looking exactly the same on the app icon. Puzzles and Empires, they did something. They had a red hair girl on the app icon and it worked. So they did A/B test it and it worked. But so many of the other companies were just looking at the others like, oh, we just have to have that guy on the app icon and that's how it's going to work. They didn't even bother to test if something else could work. So kudos to Puzzles and Empires. We need people like you who are brave enough to try these new things.
Yeah, but when it's going to come, you know, like most of the cases where it's like next 3 games,
I think, you know,
and these titles, it will be basically, you know, sometimes you're going to find like great icons, you know, even you're going to scroll now, just like the games we play or something. Yeah, but like definitely you will see this like male character. It's, yeah, you will see that definitely. And the percentage of like female character is going to be less, definitely. That's true.
So Maria already mentioned advertising today, and I've noticed that there's a trend last maybe 2 years. There's a trend of very sexist advertising, right? Especially casual games, especially match-3 games, so a lot. And what do you think about this trend? How can we stop it? And how it will be? Will be still popular tactic in user acquisition in next year? So Maryna, can you add some thoughts about this?
Yeah, definitely. So I think I've started to see this kind of a messages over LinkedIn because I'm a part of several communities. And in those communities, I think this topic was arise, for several times, and people had like real fights. I was trying to stay neutral at some point because I do not do UA as a person. Like, I do not do UA. It's not a side of business that I do, but I'm just, just curious to hear like UA experts, why they do that, why it works. There must be some reason behind that, right? So if the whole industry uses that and work with that, there must be something behind that, definitely. But again, like, it's hard to say something. Like, I definitely think there must be changes, like, and I understand the point of people who say that they don't like it. I understand the people who say we like that. It's, again, try to find the balance. You cannot distinguish all of the time good, bad, black, white. Sometimes you need to find this kind of like a solution for both parties to work it out, to agree on some kind of a consensus, to understand that this is going to work for people, like diversity, all of these things, just like it's going to work. People will get more educated and the business is not going to be harmed at the other perspective. That's the biggest issue. That's the biggest issue, to be there at the balancing, like trying to find the solution that's not going to harm people, which is like the most important thing for us, right? It's people. Like, it's obvious, right? That's really obvious. But there is business on the other side. That's, if those corporations, some people do that, they do it for a reason as well. Finding the balance is really important. Just like I need to go to yoga basically to start, doing some kind of a yoga namaste stuff. But yeah, everything is about the balance. Try to find the balance as much as we can. But I definitely think it's going to change because those topic was arise like last year a lot, and this year just like continue. Like, because it was a snowball. People were keeping quiet for that for a long time. They didn't like it. Everyone was like keeping quiet, but at some point it was just like a snowball of emotions, and everything dropped together. And at some point it was just like blow. So that's why we need actually to think what we can do with that. But I definitely think it's going to change. I definitely think, because if it was arised already, there must be changes. Definitely there will be.
And I continue from that.
Yes, thank you.
Like, while I agree that yes, there's a business and there needs to be business value, and that's why they do it, but that's kind of the same in my moral perspective. Like, clickbait news work, but do we actually need or want clickbaits? No, we don't, but it works from marketing perspective. I can agree with clickbaits, but with some of these ads, they go way beyond my moral points. Like, they are representing rape, sexual harassment, abandoning children and stuff like that. So it's like promoting with addiction. I wouldn't allow it, and it will actually bring long-term harm for them, because there's a lot of industry people who will not work for those companies, never ever, even if they would pay how many money, because people have the moral boundaries. And while it is very hard to do anything about it, because exactly it is bringing the money in, I'm very proud that many of the industry people have been standing up for it, and they have been bringing it to publicity. Kudos to Claire Rosen from Rovio. She's been really whipping those companies in LinkedIn. She tags the companies, explain your ad. Why do you promote rape? And the companies are like, yeah, because you don't have another explanation that, hey, this makes money. And yes, we need to make money, but with what cost? And will that money be long-term money? I can understand it brings you like boost on the retention, but not for a long time, probably. I don't have the stats though, but even if I wouldn't do that at all. At least I won't be working in a company who does that. So that's their loss.
Yeah. Yeah, and as a game audience, what the only thing we can do is to support studios that is not using this tactic, I think. Vanessa, can you please share something about this?
Yeah, I agree. But I think that with the hyper casuals, help it to increase females gamers. So I think the females could go through the hybrid casuals, or maybe casuals, and then it could change, like in the it could change the industry because of the females are going inside, and it could change the testing, the A/B testing could see that. So I think we need to bring more females to play video games to change it.
Yeah.
I think it's the only thing, because money is money. I agree with Maryna.
Maybe there's also responsibility on the ad platform providers like Facebook, TikTok, all those. Like,
Yeah.
what will you
Some
actually
ads
accept?
should be blocked. Yeah, definitely. We have 10 more minutes, unfortunately, and I see that we have got a lot of questions from the audience in the Q&A session. So let's start with it. How important is representation and diversity in the games that are being developed today? So what do you think? We already started to talk about diversity and representation today. Do you have something to add on this topic, Maria?
Absolutely highly important. As I mentioned, from the marketing perspective, understanding the audience, because you might not be doing the game that you would be playing. You are doing it for someone else. So you need to understand who is that someone else. And it helps if you have someone like that in the company or in your friend circle. And there are so many like statistics and proven data that shows that diversity increases your productivity, it increases your results, it increases your happiness in the workplace. So I don't see any downsides of having diversity. So why not? If the like justification is that, but this is how we have always done it, it ain't gonna work for a long time. Unfortunately, it's time to move forward.
Yeah. So yeah, diversity on the workplace is something that we had a lot of time to talk about today. But maybe Vanessa, you can share your thoughts how diversity in the company can affect in the game development process.
Sure. Sorry, what it was?
Yeah. So how diversity and representation of people, different people from, can help a game development company in the game development process, like
Sure.
of course for the
Yeah,
promotion of the game to the audience. Yeah.
No, I think the cultural diversity is very important to the game development process. At the studio, we work with a lot of publishers from different countries, and it's very interesting, the brainstorming that we have to define a good concept and to develop it itself. Also, internally, we work with developers from different series from Brazil. It's a very big country with different cultures, so it's very great to have all this diversity.
Yeah. Maryna, what about what do you feel in Miniclip? How diversity helps you in the game publishing process?
It definitely helps, just like we have this actually, like within the company, we have these trainings, we have this kind of a sessions, where we talk, where educate each other about this diversity inclusion. So I think it's really important on a company level, just like then it comes to the kind of a deal that we have. So you firstly need to think about the human, right? I think it's the most important thing. You need to think of the person. Like money is good, right? Definitely. So basically we do games, so we are making money. So that's the main point. But first of all, you need to think about the human. Like what is going to cause? How is it going to play? How is it going to affect? And there is a thing as a like long-term plan, as Maria mentioned, right? Long-term retention, long-term, like why the people are going to stick with you. Are they going to stick with you for some quiet time because you are showing something that they want to see at some point? Or they're sticking with you because they truly believe that you send the right message to them. Again, question to people, like, and people need to choose at this point what they want and what they do. But I definitely agree with Vanessa and Maria that, yeah, it's a must nowadays. It's just like something that must be like, it's a must. There is nothing else to add. It just must be in the company. It just must be within the industry because it's important. And Maria mentioned Clara from Rovia. So yeah, she's doing an amazing job, right? So like, yeah, just being a part of aerobic, like, that stuff that she's done, the puzzle community and all of the stuff that she does for that, she's amazing. Yeah, I can't say much. Just she's doing her best, just like asking the questions, sometimes you should be very, very courage person, right? You need to have this kind of a courage to ask this question, why?
Yeah.
Which is good.
Yeah, thank you a lot. And our next question is, in your opinion, what needs to be done to increase the representation of women in leadership positions in the gaming industry? So, Maria?
Yeah, that's a very good
What can we
question.
do?
I did climb, but quite organically. But I had to have good people around me who allowed me to go forward, who were able to pay for my education. For example, a Scrum Master certificate. It's not a free one. It costs in Finland quite a lot of money. But the company did believe in me, and they saw the value of teaching me as well, and they gave me the equal opportunities to grow. So I think it comes from the current leadership to be able to recognize the people and their skills, understanding their motivations, and being equal and fair by allowing everyone in the company to step up if they want to do so, encourage them to do so, and just give them the opportunities, so it doesn't stay within a small circle of best friends behind the doors, basically, but everyone in the company has the same chance, whether it's female or someone, because often the stigma and the sentiment of the industry is that you may not be worth it, or you need to be the super guru to do this. But honestly, the industry is so new that none of us are super gurus. We need to learn every single day something new. So if you have the capability and the want to learn, that should be the traits that the current leaders should see and help the other leaders to grow. And there's something very valuable that every one of us can do, especially the Women in Games global and local communities. They offer mentorship free for everyone. So if you want to learn something new, you can sign up as a mentee, or if you already know that you could share your knowledge, please join as a mentor and help someone else to grow into this industry.
Yeah, that's definitely, I think it's a good suggestion to mention to people about this opportunity with women in games. So we don't have a lot of time, so can we jump to another question? What game industry roles do you think are great for people to look into when you first join the industry? So Maryna, can you share your thoughts? What people should look for when they just want to jump into gaming industry?
It's going to depend on your background, right? If you're a tech person, it's going to be one kind of a skills that you have. You need to think about the jobs that's going to apply for you. For example, me, I'm not a tech person. Like, I'm a BD, right? So I'm all of the time what I'm doing, I'm talking to people. So from my perspective, if somebody, for example, wanted to have a kind of skill that I have, like talking to people, selling, I would call it like selling, honestly, right? Doing this kind of a pitching, live with idea that you are going to do something good. I think that it's good to try some kind of a BD role, some kind of a junior associate roles, to enter with this, like a publishing, maybe, like a publishing manager as well, to learn about how to set up a relationship, how to work it out. Maybe some kind of a social, community management as well. It's going to be a nice one. I think it's a great start. But yeah, everything that comes to sales, everything that comes to all that stuff, it's going to be good. But I think on a tech background, it's going to be a bit different, right? So there is other positions, like engineers, developers, QA. I think the good start is mostly for a lot of people, they start in QA. When you are more in a tech background, you would like to develop yourself in this one. But yeah, when it comes to, talking, commercials and everything like that, the community roles, everything that comes working within the commercial teams, business development and publishing or around that is going to be a huge plus, because you at some point you will understand what you would like to do, because it's really broad. At some points it's like you think that you do only that, but it's not. You do a lot of different stuff, so you're touching different points. And UA, maybe some kind of a junior UA specialist who would like to work with people and who would like to work with some kind of a like texting, just also being somewhere. But like basically try everything you like. Just you have the number of skills, you have everything, just like give it a try. Maybe you will get no's, but you need to try, because you cannot understand without trying. Just go and try. Don't be afraid, it's okay.
Anna might have some internet issues, it seems.
Oh,
Yes.
oh my, yeah.
Yeah, so I see that our time is almost over. So can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Yes, I'm sorry. Yes, looks like I got some internet problems. So yeah, our time is over right now for our session, and there's still a lot of questions. So I just want to, you can, like, if you have time, you can reply in our chat. And also, I just want to remind everyone that on the Pine you can find LinkedIn and other contacts of Maria, Vanessa, and Maryna. And I think you can always, if they have free time, they would love to reply to your questions and help you. Yeah, so thank you for your time. And it was really nice to talk to you today. And I hope we had more time. Yeah, there's a lot of things to discuss.
Thank you for this.
Okay,
It
thank
was
you.
pleasure.
Thank you so
It was
much.
a
Have a lovely
pleasure.
one.
Have a great day. Bye-bye.